back for another Talk About It Tuesday. We have a slightly unusual real estate question. So let me just jump right into this. What are the pros and cons of buying land as an investment? Now, you don't really hear that much anymore. One, because it's just not a whole lot of land, available. And two, there was a time when people would say, you have to buy land. The wealth is in land. And that's when we really came out of an agricultural society. And since we've kind of shifted to urbanization and industrialization and now really into a tech world, land is not seen as valuable as it once was. But even the land that is available is not equal, right? There are different types of land. So let me explain that. There's what you call raw land, there's unimproved land, and there's improved land. So raw land is just what it sounds like, untouched, in its wild state, no utilities there, no paved roads there, no sewers, no water main, no electricity, no phone lines, no nothing. It's just raw. And that's, considered the least valuable type of land today. Then we have unimproved land. And I know that sounds weird because it's a step above raw land, but unimproved land is land that has some utility lines, might have some water lines, but you don't have access to them, meaning you're not tapped in, there's no meter. So there are some things that do exist above raw land, which would allow for you to be able to develop and tap into it. And then there's what you call improved land. So improved land, you do have access to sewers and water and electricity and gas lines and phone lines and has paved roads, which is really important. So these are things people don't consider when they're looking at land. You just see this wild land and say, oh, I want to have it. So anyway, let's just talk about the pros and cons. So pros, let's start with the pros. I like to start there. If you choose to develop the land, then you can develop it to your own design and specification. So instead of coming into a place where it's already built out and, either you like it or you don't, or you have to make some modifications from the ground up, you can design and develop, land the way you choose, right? Of course, there are zoning restrictions and things like that, but basically it's your design. Another pro is that you can collect royalties from your land if it has timber or minerals or oil on the land. You can collect money and let somebody else do the actual work. So that's a positive. Another positive is if you do choose to rent that out, it's a low maintenance rental, meaning somebody else might develop it and build on it. Somebody else might farm it or whatever they're going to do to it. And it's pretty much low maintenance in regards to you having to make improvements or maintenance or, so your costs are low, but everything you get from it is pretty high. Other than that, I'm trying to think, okay, long term, if there's something happening economically or in terms of improvement of the area, as long term, they call it land speculation, the land itself might increase in value and you might sell it for profit later on to someone who's willing to develop it the way that you chose not to. So those are pretty much the pros of land. Cons. Okay, let's get into it. Raw land, you will probably in no way, shape, or form be able to finance it from a lender, right? Because one, there's no collateral on it because there's no property structure built on it. It's hard to place a value on it. So in terms of raw land, that means you're paying for it pretty much. Unimproved land, you have a slightly better chance of getting financed. Improved land, you have a better chance, but even in those cases, they'll require a high down payment and the interest rates will be much higher than a traditional mortgage, just because it's so much more risky. It's not like, when you have a home, you'll fight to save your home because you don't want to be homeless. A piece of land, you might not fight so hard if you come into economic hard times. So that's definitely a negative. Another negative is unless you develop it, it's actually costing you money while it's sitting there because you still will have to pay taxes, and in some cases you'll have to do some maintenance on it while no money is coming in. So if you buy land and you don't immediately develop it or you don't immediately lease it or collect royalties, it's costing you money while it sits there. And then there's the other aspect of it. It could actually go down in value. And how could that happen? We have these climate changes that could really severely affect the quality of the land or even reshape the land because it's undeveloped. Um, Something could happen in the nearby town where, economic changes where people leave and, all of a sudden that area is not valuable. There are these things that could happen to really devalue the land over time. So, there are some pros, there are some cons to investing in land. It's not really a highly sought after thing to invest in today because land is not what it used to be, just not as valuable as it used to be. So, great question. I like thinking outside the box. There are opportunities, obviously, to be able to make some money investing in land. Great question. Keep the questions coming. I'd love to hear your comments. Like, share, subscribe. Keep the questions coming, and I'll see you next Tuesday.